What? Okay, I really want to appreciate you, Elena, for stopping by here. I know you are flat out, extremely busy, and it's not every time you get an opportunity to be with someone like yourself in the room with such incredible level of expertise. So we do appreciate it. I know that just you being across Telstra, ANZ, Myers, now currently with People First Bank been at that leadership position, and you've seen it all, you've done it all, so we do feel quite privileged to have you here today, and so we really want to say thank you. I'm just really looking forward to all of the amazing information that you've got ready for us. Every single person in the room is at different stage in their journey, and they're really looking forward to a lot of the insight that you're going to be sharing today, just helping them feel more confident as they proceed on that quest of being able to add value in any organization they find themselves, either as business analyst, project manager, or scrum master, or whatever. And I know that in your capacity, Elena, you've had the opportunity to be, you've worked there yourself, but right now, just supporting more than 60, and probably the number is up now, but supporting more than 60 senior business analysts, professionals who have gone ahead and done one of the most incredible initiatives is thrilling, and it's also something for yourself as well. I know that, darling. And that's also something for yourself as well. And I just really want to say congratulations as well on every front, especially with the new launch as well at People First Bank. Congratulations. And yeah, I really want us to get right into it. Elena, just whenever you're ready, you should have
Yeah.
sharing access. But thank you so much for joining us. Can everyone please pop thank you in the group chat as we get started? Guys, please pop thank you. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Well, firstly, can I get a wave? Hello, everyone.
Yay, we're
Say
rolling.
hello. Wherever you are, some of you I can see you on commute on a train. So, wherever you are, thank you very much. I'm privileged to be invited to talk to all of you because I think we're all special. We all come with different experiences and we are coming together to share those experiences. So, I'm also passing my experience in this talk. This is an interactive one. So if you have any questions, I would love for you to ask. And I'll give you as much of secret sauce as I could offer. So I'm going to jump right into it, my presentation. Now, given that the time is a little bit shortened, I will try and go through this relatively quickly because I don't want to take away the time for you to ask any questions, for me to have time to answer any important questions for you. So I'm going to jump right to it. Let me just share my screen. One second. Can you see my screen?
Yes, it's
That's
hot.
good.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent, excellent. All right. Well, I'm going to give you the shortcut version of what you need to know. I'm going to just go right into the secret sauce stuff. All right. So this is all about my perspective as a hiring manager. What is it that I look for? What's relevant, what's not relevant, and how you get the job, right? Ultimately, that's what you want.
Yeah.
Um, Firstly, I'm just going to tell you a little bit of a story. For me, a few months ago, I was recruiting for a BA role. I had 218 applicants for one role. One candidate, I looked at it and I thought, well, really impressive, beautiful colors, certification galore, beautifully formatted. The other one was looking quite plain, black and white, not much detail, some in tables, just formatted to how you would normally expect a resume. Well, the second person got the job. That's not because that person has more experience, but it is also because that person was able to show and make it really easy for me to understand how that person was able to solve problems and deliver value. And what does that mean? It means that person was able to tell us what problems they were able to solve in their role. Today, I'm going to let you in a bit of a secret. Hiring managers are not looking for the smartest person in the room. They're looking for the person that has the confidence to solve our problems in the business and whatever context that might be. And I think that is relevant for any job in the market. There is a lot of perception in the market around how you show up as a candidate. A lot of people, as you can see, there's a waterline. What's above the waterline is, awards, titles, certifications. What's below the line are your soft skills. For me, what's below the line is most important. I mean, look, certification and all that is great as well, but that doesn't tell me what you know and what you can apply in your job. What I really care about in any capacity is your ability to use judgment, your communication, curiosity, mindset, and teamwork. All of them are things that it's very hard to show in a resume, but really important to show in an interview. Most candidates are fixated by the formatting, by all of the bells and whistles, but often missing the point of a really good resume. Hiring managers are really trying to find one decision from four questions. The question they're trying to work out is, can I trust this person with a difficult problem on a Tuesday morning? And here are some of the key four questions that they would try and understand from you. Can you make sense of complexity? Most of the time, as a business analyst anyway, we are confronted with really ambiguous requirements, really ambiguous problem statements, not much clarity around what the scope is, etc. So can you try and make sense of that? Can you find out what can be clear and what hasn't been clear? Can you bring people on a journey? Can you influence people? Can you communicate? Can you bring people together? Can you turn an activity into an outcome? These are the things that I'm doing, but what is the outcome? What's the value I'm trying to drive at the other end? And what benefit will that serve for the business? Can you learn fast? Everyone goes into a particular role with things that they may or may not know. And that's really natural. We're not expecting you to know everything, but it's critical that we know that you've got the positive mindset, that you're always able to find your way around, find answers, learn what you need to know, and enough for you to be able to do the job. So for me as BAs, I'm not looking for BAs that can write requirements. Actually, to be very honest, I think BAs that the bit about writing requirements may become a job for the AI tool.
Yeah.
I'm not here to replace a job that can be done by an AI, but I'm looking for somebody that can reduce risk and create clarity. Really common things that I do see in resumes that I would say these are the key things that I see really common in resumes that I would love for you to avoid at all costs. Because recruiters typically only spend seconds reading a resume. And as I said before, I had one job where I had 218 applicants. I couldn't, honestly, I couldn't read your resume, every single word top to bottom, and spend 10 minutes on it when I have 218 to read. So I really only look at it really briefly. And you got to catch my eye. What are the things that you know, don't know, how you do the job, how you get the job done? So to pop, it's all about knowing how to catch the audience. Avoid things like really long resumes. We're not going to read 8 pages. That's not going to be possible. Avoid generic AI statements. We know what they look like because they sound in a similar way. There's also the way it's written, the formatting. We know what they're like. So don't go and copy and paste. Use your own words in a way that gives you and helps you present your personality. Try not to list the duties or activities that you're doing. Every BA CV looks exactly the same to me because everyone talks about their roles exactly the same way. You're not going to pop out at all. In fact, you'll look exactly the same as everyone else. Unless you start telling me the activities or outcomes or achievements that you've done, that's not really going to help me understand your ability as a BA. Spelling mistakes, I do see that. And these are some of the things that you can avoid easily. Buzzwords as well. People copy and paste the job ad and then, add the buzzwords in there, but is incoherent. And as a result, it makes it really hard to read. I'll give you an example. So when somebody write in their resume, oh, I was responsible for stakeholder management, what you should be writing would be something like, hey, I've engaged 25 stakeholders and I've defined requirements to reduce delivery rework by 30%. So there, you've solved a problem, you've talked about the achievement, and you talk about the complexity of the task. So a formula I would say is, hey, bring action, content, context, outcome, and evidence into the way you craft your resume as well as your interview. Talk about the outcome, talk about things that you've done to get to that point, more than the tasks that you have done as an analyst, as a program manager, as a tester, etc. Really, really, really important. I know a lot of people talk about AI, and yes, AI is changing the game. Can I just ask, anyone show up your hands, who has used AI to help you write a resume? Hands up. Anyone? Yeah? Well, that's really good because employers use AI too. We use it to help us understand the right candidate, for us to filter the candidates, for us to know what type of interviewing questions we should be asking. So we use it the same way as you do, and it's really good that you do. You can use it to tailor your resume, but don't lose yourself in there, because AI is trying to tell you how to write things in a certain way. But it's really important that you need to sell yourself, and you can't be disjointed. The AI version of you can't be disjointed from the actual version of you in the interview. We will see that. Practice your interviewing questions. It's really great to use AI for that because it can understand your expertise and compare that with what is expected of the job and help you practice. And that's really good. Research for a role. That's really good. Create clarity in how you present yourself. Those are really great things that you can use an AI to do. But what is really, really important in a setting of an interview is to demonstrate critical thinking, judgment, curiosity, communication, and adaptability. Those are the key things that you need to show up. And how you act, react, how you do that through answering questions is how you would get the job. 5 ways to lose in an interview. These are really common things that I do see quite often in my line of work. I spend 50%, more than 50% of my time having interviews with individuals, and those are the things that I see the most. Not answering the questions. So many times we ask a simple question and we get a very different answer on the other side. The truth is that hiring managers have a tick box as well, tick sheet. We'll have to go through all of the criteria to see whether you satisfied all of those things. The moment you don't answer a question is when you haven't got the tick for that particular area. And you've lost your opportunity to be competitive with another candidate who has answered all of those questions properly. So really think about it from that way, is that every answer is an opportunity for you to meet the expectation of that particular aspect of the role. Give theories instead of evidence. They talk about this is what they would do, but not necessarily how they've solved an actual problem. Talking too much, going off a tangent, spending 10 minutes and not really getting to the point, which is the red one there, going on a scenic tour, not getting to the point. Really frustrating. As a hiring manager, nothing frustrates me more because I really want you to get the job. I want you to get there. And sometimes I would even try and ask you second time, third time, a different way of the same question, just so that you can try and get there. But some people doesn't latch on. They don't get the point, and as a result, they don't meet the requirement of the role. And no questions for interviewers. It's not a bad thing to ask questions because that's how you know about the role, and that's how I know whether you're really, really interested in the role or not, and how much you really want to have it. So asking questions is a really good thing. Lastly, preparing the questions. When we ask questions, there is an ulterior motive. There is a motive behind the question. I want to know something about you, and it's not what you might think. So I'll give an example. So tell me about yourself. It's a really broad question. A lot of people struggle with this because I'll go, oh, what do I need to say? Do I tell her that I've got 4 dogs and 3 cats? Do I tell her that, oh, I just went to the Bahamas on the weekend? No, actually, I don't really need to know these things. What I really need to know is, what was your value proposition? Why are you important to this job? Not your life story. Why this role? It's really important for me to know your motivation. Why is it that you're so interested in this role? And why you of everyone else? Talk about you, how you are different. Tell me about difficult stakeholders. You always hear that question. A motive, understanding how you can influence people around you without blame, without drama. Ambiguity, things that we often get in a real workplace. We don't know what direction we're going, we don't know the approach, etc. It's all about understanding how you build clarity when you're surrounded by unknowns. And lastly, what would you do differently? It's all about understanding your mindset, your growth mindset. Do you see yourself learning from your experience and looking at doing things differently next time? Have you understood what worked and what didn't work? And how can you make different choices? Lastly, the 3 things to remember just to close out. Make your value easy to see. See it from your resume, but also be able to see it when you're in an interview. Spell it out for us if you're not sure. Yeah, make it really, really transparent. Show skills through evidence, not the job title. And be a person that you can trust to solve the problem in the other end. Because when I'm hiring, I'm not looking for the perfect candidate. I'm looking for the person that I can trust to tackle difficult problems on a Tuesday afternoon. And if employers can see that you can be the person that can be the person to solve the problem, then you'll always be competitive in the job market. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you. Guys, can I see your virtual applause? Wow. I mean, Elena, you've got such an incredible skill being able to deliver a loads of value within such a short period, and it's even something I'm trying to learn myself, and that's absolutely, I couldn't just go ahead without saying that. Really, really thank you for being able to break that down in a way that it's really, really digestible. Now we're gonna go through some questions. I know the team, they've got some questions for you, but I might start on the last point that you made, Elena, because one thing we always talk about a lot in the community is trust. And I actually created a framework called the trust framework, because having spoken to people like yourself and spoken to a lot of other top leaders, I've come to understand that hiring managers are just looking for someone they can trust with a problem. And as a candidate, if you could reflect and let them know that, yes, like you can be trusted, then they have no reason to not give you the job. So it's quite, really, really refreshing again to see that that was very big in your presentation as well. Like, be the person that can be trusted. Now, when it comes to creating trust across an interview, what would be your perspective on perhaps as a candidate, you get asked a question, and for some reason, you know the answer, but it flew out of your head, and naturally you start to panic, right? As a candidate, you start to panic. How do you think one could still hold the fort without losing the trust that perhaps was being built in the course of the interview? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, trust is it's hard. It's hard to build trust in a 30-minute or 60-minute conversation, right? Which is an interview. However, what I would love to be, I think trust comes from confidence. If I know that you're confident in doing the job, then I'll probably be more inclined to trust you, right? So one thing is being confident in your answers, being confident to answer the question. Secondly, so the soft aspect of that is showing up and being confident. Secondly, you may panic and you go, oh, what do I say? How do I say it? But then just go back to drawing in your memory. And even sometimes if you haven't done that before and you go, oh, I haven't done that before, but what can I say? Well, actually, go into in your mind, in your experience, draw on an example, even if it's not work related, even if it's something that you've done outside of work, even it's okay for you to relate it back to the point. So I'm just going to see if I could quickly draw something out of a hat here. So if I asked you a question around, hey, have you found a really difficult challenge that you're not very good at? How have you overcome that? I will draw in my mind around, hey, I'm very bad at reading maps. Actually, that's me. I'm very bad at reading maps. And I would think, actually, I don't have an answer for that in a work context, but I can probably relate it to something that I've done in a personal circumstance. Then I'm going to say, hey, I remember 15 years ago, I went on a gap year. It was a very late gap year. I went traveling around the world. One thing that stuck with me, I wasn't really good at, was reading maps. And back then we didn't have, Google Maps that I can easily find my way around. And so I have to challenge myself to conquer what I feared was reading the map and be able to find places around. They were in foreign countries, in different languages. It was really hard for me to navigate. But through that experience, I've gained and I've learned from it, and I knew how to conquer my fear of reading maps. And at the end, I now know how to do that, and I don't have that fear anymore. Like, there was just an example that you can take, but you showing confidence in your ability in the example, as well as talk about something that actually is not work related, but it didn't matter because it was a human skill that I needed to know, whether you have the confidence, whether you can get the job done, you can conquer your fear, you have the mindset, you're able to communicate around it. Those are the things that I needed to know. And within that answer, I was able to get more about you, your personality, and your acumen as a human. Yeah.
No, thank you. Thank you for that, Elena. I wanted to, before I jump into the questions in the group chat, I wanted to talk about something that is quite popular, especially amongst, immigrants or people who weren't born in Australia, as an example. Most people have come from a country where when you attend interviews, you're expected to be like hyper, like frowny your face. You're meant to be like overly serious about the situation, and you're meant to kind of present yourself like, oh, this is not a joking situation. Obviously it's not, but I find in Australia it's kind of different. I wanted to ask you, what role does personality play within the interview context, and what is your perspective? How would you like want to appear in an interview? Smiling, frowning, monosyllabic? Like, what are your thoughts? Because I know nervousness comes into play and people go one word and they start to do all of those things. But I guess I just want to understand from your lens, what's the role of being warm and personable in an interview, and what should one not do if you want to be considered as, okay, that was a really warm candidate that I just spoke to. I can have a chat with them in the coffee room. I know there's that coffee room, but I want to hear your thoughts, Elena.
Well, we're hiring person. We're not hiring a robot. I don't want people to come in too serious because I'm not seeing you. When you come in and do a job 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, I will see you and I'll see the person. I'm more interested in the person. So come in with a smile, come in with enthusiasm, come in with passion. That's really, really important. I have interviewed people that at both ends of the spectrum. I've had people that actually came in with their tracksuit pants and sitting really laid back, and the computer was this way and he was like talking to us that way. Well, actually, that doesn't make a really good impression. It just gave me the impression that you didn't really care very much for the job, even though you may. That's the impression we got. And then we've got the other spectrum where people, had their suit on and had their tie on, and it's really serious. But we know that actually you're putting that on because you want to get the job. I'm not seeing you either. So I say avoid both spectrum. Try and come in as a professional, but come in with a smile. Show us your personality. Show us that you're passionate for the job.
Wow, I agree 100%. Thank you for sharing that. Or I might jump into the question that we've got in the group chat. So Mo says, what should a candidate do when they don't know how to answer a question in an interview? And how important is a portfolio of past work or sample work when going into an interview?
So it's a very long question. Let me start with what was the question? They don't know how to answer a question in an interview. Oh, don't know how to answer in an interview. That's all part of this. I would say the point of the interview is for me to understand you as a person. When you are confronted with a question that you don't know about, what do you do? Do you go and panic and just go, oh, that's it, I'm done? Or do you go, actually, I don't know how, I don't have that capability. Can I relate to something else? Can I relate to a personal circumstance or something else that I can? How quickly can you think on your feet? How quickly can you solve this problem within your own head? And then you can also try asking, hey, I'm not clear of what you're just asking. Can I understand it from this way, or can I interpret it from this way?
Right.
You can try and influence the conversation into a different direction, and you can then start selling yourself in that particular, and in a slightly different way. You always find those circumstances, and how you pivot around it is exactly why we have interviews. Otherwise, we would just be hiring from resumes, right? It's the person and the reaction, the action and reaction tells us all we need to know. So yes, don't be discouraged by questions that you don't know. You can always ask for clarity, or you can influence the question to talk about something else that you're more comfortable with, or you can draw on non-work related examples.
Yeah.
How important is the portfolio of past work, sample work, going to be? Extremely important. So like I said in there, everything I've just talked about has got nothing to do with what you've written in your resume. Don't come into an interview reading out what you've done in your resume. We've already read it.
Yeah.
The reason why we brought you in is because we like what we've seen, but we want to see you. We don't want you to tell us what you've already done in your resume. That's precisely what an interview is for. So draw on your experiences, talk about examples of your work that you've done. That's so, so critical, because that basically stands you apart from everyone else. You can talk about those examples. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Elena. I'd almost imagine, especially with the context you gave earlier on, that hiring
Mm.
managers aren't looking for the perfect candidate. So there would be an expectation that a candidate might not have the answer to all of the questions. Hopefully not a
Yeah.
deal breaker question. Hopefully not something that is expected of you on the job, like requirement, testing, etc. Hopefully not deal breakers like that. But even if you lose your train of thought, what you're saying right now is the action and the reaction is what would then be judged at that point in time, which I think
Correct.
it's such a great perspective to have. Thank you. All right, Jose says, what do you think about ageism in the hiring process? How are candidates over 40 viewed versus younger candidates? And how can they positively position themselves? What are your thoughts, Elena?
I honestly have no thoughts around that because that's not part of the way I select my candidates.
All right.
How they look, their age. I do make a point of having a balanced gender in my team. So I'm very proud that I'm 50-50%. So 50 female, 50 male, because I think the gender diversity is really, really important. And I have just an enormous amount of talented female leaders in my team. The only thing I care for is having the right gender balance in terms of age, in terms of background. To me, it makes no difference as long as you're able to do the job and you're solving the problem and that you can apply those human skills as well as your technical skills. That's all I care for. I honestly don't even think about that. It's not part of my equation.
I get it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. There's a quite interesting question here. Someone says, how long should an ideal resume be? And they've also had it, assuming you've got 10 years of working experience, is it okay to cut short your work experience when applying for a role, perhaps seeking someone with 5 years of experience? What are your thoughts, Elise?
Yeah. Look, the resume, and I can't stress this enough, please tailor your resume to the job. Don't have a standard one that you just cut and copy and send to every job.
Hmm.
That's not, we will see that. I would tell you, just being able to read many, many CVs, I can tell you which one I just cut and paste, and you haven't really put any thinking process behind it. So, skilled hiring managers will know. So please cater to that. So to your point, hey, if I have 10 years experience, I don't necessarily need to know 10 years worth of experience if they're not related to the job. So you might put in a table and say, these are my job titles and these are the tenure. So that will be a really cut short version of this is all my experience for 10 years. And then when you go into the detail of each of the role, draw on those that are relevant to the role only. So talk about those experiences that are relevant to the role, not all 10 years worth. If only 5 years were important, then you don't need to show all of those that are not.
Right, right. Amazing.
Because I think an ideal length would be maybe 2-page max.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Elena. Judith says, what would you advise someone preparing for the first BA interview to focus on the most?
The first interview, I say don't go in your first job interview in an actual interview. What I mean by that is have a bunch of practice everywhere else.
Yes.
Get people, get your friends to talk to you.
Yeah.
Get your family to interview you.
Yeah.
Get other people, and even I would say if you're really serious about a job, try and apply other jobs that you're less keen and have those interview practice before you go into that one. Practice is key. Don't go in to an interview for the first time for an actual job that you really care for because you're not going to do as well.
Yeah.
Have the practice everywhere else. Yeah.
100%. I'm echoing that with you, Elena, because it's such a expensive thing to do because it's your first one. You definitely you don't want your first one to be your first one, right? You want to have pressure tested and really, really make sure you're getting all of that. I know we're short on time right now. I'm just going to scan through some of the other questions. Okay, Lynette says, what is your take on a candidate with very high qualifications seeking entry-level jobs?
Yeah, look, I think that is problematic in I'd be very brutally honest. I think for me, that person will be really qualified, but I think at the back of my mind, I'll be wondering, is this a stepping stone into another role? Why is it that there is a disjoint in the flow of the CV and the types of role that this person's looking for? I wouldn't necessarily say no. I would say, hey, help me understand your aspiration. I would ask to understand your aspirations before I decide whether you're the right candidate for the job, because I would need to know that your aspiration lies within the path of this type of role, and that this is not stepping stone into a different role, that you're more qualified, or that you would feel more challenged. I think my other perspective is that I'm also concerned for the person, because if you go into a job that you're overqualified for, you'll probably get bored really quickly. That also means that my tenure with that candidate may be shortened. And that's something that I would have to keep in mind as well. People are, and to be fair, I'm realistic. I know people are only, you're not going to come in to do a job 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, if you're not getting either money, learning, or opportunity behind it, right? So if you're going to come in for a role, and you're coming into a role that is more junior, which means you're financially not going to get the reward that you used to, the opportunity, well, that's diminished because it is a lower level entry job. And then the learning as well. Well, actually, you're overqualified and you're really learning from it. I wonder how long you would stay in the role. And that's why I would say, hey, I think reality is that I need to know what the motivation is. In saying that, I've had architects that has, applied for BA roles, and they've been hired because that's where they want to go. That's the direction. They no longer want to be solution architects. They now want to be BAs, and that's a career change. And that's A-okay. And I hire them.
You. Thank you so much, Elena. How many minutes have we got left, Elena? Because I could just pivot some of this.
It's okay. I'm happy to stop at 11.
Okay. Thank you. Alrighty. So I had a question in here that says, what would be the most effective way or an alternate way for a candidate to land an interview beyond just applying on Seek or Indeed? What are your thoughts?
It is tough. I know that company advertise themselves as well. So as an example, People First Bank, we have our own job website that we advertise the roles. Where else would you be able to find roles? Well, it's hard because whilst I'm a hiring manager, I'm not always looking for people. There's only moments in time I would do that. I also have had a lot of people connecting to me on LinkedIn asking about jobs, but I think it's very difficult because every job is different, and it's not easy for you to just network and find your way. So yeah, I think usually the mainstream is the right way to go. Another way, you could connect directly through LinkedIn to those expertise in that particular field if it's quite a specialist area.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it could be difficult because I think, again, you need to be able to find the right person that actually is finding the job, and that person is hiring for the job in which you have the skills for. So yeah, it's not, it's tricky.
It is quite tricky. I mean, like there's different opportunities. You could even so these days on LinkedIn, you'd find several jobs with actual phone numbers, and hiring managers are like asking for people who are brave enough to give them a call, but most candidates actually don't, because everyone's like, I'm just gonna wait for them to call me. And that's always a very important step as well. Just pitching yourself, like you mentioned, giving them your value. What's your value proposition, and what problem can you solve for them? Um,
Yeah.
when it comes to career gap, Elena, a lot of people have fears and concerns around it and how they would defend it. I find culturally, especially amongst immigrants, it's something that you kind of have to always think through. I think within like the Australian context, I've met a lot of people that very proudly wear their hat of the fact that they had a career gap to look after their family, their loved ones, or things like that, or even to just get a break from everything. And people oftentimes talk about that quite confidently. But within the immigrant community, that's something that does bother quite a lot of people. So I want to ask you, like, what are your thoughts? Do you think career gaps have any influence in the way recruiters might view a candidate?
Oh, it's a tough question. It's a tough question to answer because it depends on how long the gap is.
Right.
What was the nature? Career gap is not always a problem. I've hired women that has given birth and had spent a few years with their child before and re-entering back into a workplace, and that's, to me, I'm a mum as well, and I fully understand and appreciate that. That's the journey in which mothers have to go through themselves, and so that's not always a detraction. I think gaps are only a problem if, I tend to look at the career path and I see, there's a certain pattern of behavior where you're moving from one job to another, finding different pathways, or you're growing and finding sort of more challenging roles as you go through the process. If there's a gap and there's not enough reason to talk about why there is a gap and what you've done in the gap, that probably it's hard for me to understand why that is the case. Was it because you were made redundant and that you haven't been able to find a job and there was a 3-year gap? I always think, what would be even better is use that gap time to enrich yourself, enroll into a course, do a few things, learn different things, or join different groups, even at a sort of non-monetary way. At least you can say, hey, within the gap, I've done a course, I've got this certification, I've also started my own business, or I've helped out with this group, this community. You can show that you can be active within the gap when you're still looking for another job. So yeah, I think it's good to be able to demonstrate a little bit of value that you've added in that period of time. Or you can just simply say, hey, I had a career change, or I took some time off to look after a child after giving birth. Yeah.
Amazing. And speaking of career change, Elena, which is quite common. Like, it's okay for you to get bored of a job and like exit the job, build a skill, and move into a different career. What are your thoughts on people changing their careers, wanting to explore business analysis? Oftentimes imposter syndrome kicks in, and quite a lot of people feel like, oh my goodness, like, yeah, am I supposed to be here? Can I do this? I'm a career changer. Will I ever be good enough? I guess I just want to hear from your thoughts. Like, what do you think, and how should they carry themselves to remain exceptional in their work?
I think career change, I would advocate for you to look for challenges within the area that you're in. So by that, I mean, hey, you're a senior BA, you're doing this job, but you want to find the next progression point. I wouldn't advocate for you to, if you can, look within the organization and see if there's opportunity for you to grow into different areas. If you're interested, say you're a senior BA, you've been working with a solution architect and really interested in that area, you can have a chat with them and go, hey, what if I do a little bit more for you? By learning from you, I can, help out with a few things that you're doing, so I can job share or learn from you. And then progressively, you can find yourself a different pathway for job change. And so then the next job you can apply for an architect's role, a junior architect, And in the resume, you can say, hey, I've helped out with this person. I was mentored by this person within the organization, and I've achieved this or that. That really helps you add value, talk about what you have done, and makes it easier for you to land your next job in that particular direction that you want to change into. I wouldn't advocate for you to just simply quit this job and then look for a different title. That could be hard because you're trying to sell experience that you don't have or you haven't demonstrated. So I would say, hey, try and look within if you can, or look for mentorship that you can bridge the gap in a career change pathway.
Amazing, thank you. Sliding off slightly away from interviews, Alina, when you think about exceptional BAs on the job as an example, what are some of the attributes that they have when you're thinking, yeah, that's a really great business analyst. I want to keep them on my team. Like, what are some of their attributes? How do they kind of carry themselves on the job?
I think my presentation has summed it up nicely. It's all about the human soft skills. The soft skills that are they really good communicators? Can they, can they find clarity from ambiguity? Can they solve problems? Yeah. It's all about solving problems. The best BAs are those that I can just give you a piece of work and you know how to lead it and you know how to get to the outcome. It's all about, how do we find information around you, leverage people around you, knowing who to speak to at what time to get to an outcome, and really focus on driving value. Those are the really good BAs. BAs that tends to think about their roles as their role. I'm here to write requirements. I'm here to do this. I'm here to do that. You're not going to be a very good BA because ultimately you're still not solving a problem. You're not helping to solve a problem, or you haven't identified where the problem is and look at solving for it. So I would say the soft skills, 110%. That really tells you, and sort of breaks you apart from everyone else. Yeah.
Wow. Well, amazing. Thank you so kindly, Elena. This is quite a lot of information, really enlightening, and I really love it. It's truly the confessions, because from the outside, as a candidate, I always say this, like, candidates tend to be very selfish and they're just talking all about themselves. Whereas your presentation today has really said it's not about you, it's not about just you here. It's about you helping them see that you can solve the problem at hand. And when there are hiring needs, it means there's a problem on the job and or there's an opportunity, and we're looking for someone that could work together with us to achieve that outcome. And I guess your presentation echoed that all through, just screaming, what value can you bring? What problem can you solve? And more importantly, how can you show that? Because a 30 minute interview or a 45-minute interview is not enough. It's such a short time to get to know anyone. So as a candidate, you have such short window to make that impression. There's one question I want us to cap this all with, Elena. And it's the fact that sometimes people don't get the job. Like, you go for an interview and maybe you did everything in your power and it just didn't work out, right? What are there other reasons someone might not get a job aside giving putting into consideration that there's competency, like this person is good? However, what are the other reasons that could hinder someone from being offered a job? Because I just want people to have that perspective that it's not always about your skills all the time. There are lots of different factors. Just a couple of lists, and then we can cap this.
Yeah, look, there is. The reality is, not all the jobs are real jobs, first of all. Some of them needs to be advertised as part of the process, but there may already be internal candidates that they've already earmarked, right? That's the reality. Sorry, guys, it is the reality. I'm going to tell you the brutal truth. So not all jobs are real jobs. And when there are real jobs, we also have to balance, hey, I suppose, the location. So as an example, if you're operating a different location from our head office, does that play a factor? Does your salary expectation meet the banding of the role? Again, HR sets this banding, and if you're, far beyond the expectation of and the budget for the role, that's also a consideration. There's multitude of different factors that goes behind the scenes around a candidate, and it's not just about your skill set. But don't be dismayed. I think, look, I've been there. I've applied jobs where I don't get it. Everyone does. We're all down the path. So I would say, don't be discouraged, right? Don't be discouraged by the experience, because every interview makes you a better candidate. So if you just take that and think, okay, every practice I've had will help me land the next job and the one after, and learn from what you've done in the past, you polish yourself and get there even faster and even better. So use the ground that you're learning from as the way to make you a better candidate. And I might just close by saying, when you're going in an interview, just almost come in like a car salesman, a used car salesman. You're selling yourself in an interview setting. Come in like the mindset of a used car salesman. Come in and try to make a good impression really quickly to score a sale. And by doing that, you will come back with a little bit more of an impression of your ability. People come in with a really set mindset that I'm here to regurgitate my resume and talk about what I've done. That often get lost in the many, many interviews that we do. So have a think about what that might mean to you. But hopefully that has been informative. Yeah.
Wow, thank you so very kindly, Elena. Like, this is, I expected nothing less. It's just like, this is really blown my mind, and I really, really want to appreciate you for your time. This was meant to be half an hour, guys. Elena was meant to be here for half an hour, but we had all the annoying tech issues, and she decided to be here longer. So thank you so much for the confessions, the insight, all the eating nugget that might not be ordinarily available. We really, really want to appreciate you. I don't know, you wanted to say thank you as well.
Thank you so much, Elena. Of course, I didn't expect anything less. Like Tyra said, we'd already binge watched the interview you had with Tyra, and we're like, oh my God, this is so much knowledge. So thank you so much for honoring us and giving us your extra time.
Amazing, amazing. Guys, can you all unmute your microphone and just, if anyone wants to say something to Elena, this is the time for us to all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Elena.
Thank you so much, Elena.
Thank you.
My honor. Thank you. Thank you.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you.
Thank
Very,
you.
very informative. We'll let you carry on with your day. And for the podcast, for the masterclass we did, Elena, everyone's been like going on and on. It's indeed a masterclass, and I'm pretty sure I cannot wait for us to have an in-person sit down. I'm gonna make sure that happens. I'm gonna make sure that happens.
Just fly me to Brisbane. I'm good.
Definitely. Okay. Challenge accepted.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for your time. Speak to you later.
Amazing. Speak to you soon. Bye, everyone. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Guys, give us your feedback on school. It helps us to know what type of person we should be bringing. So if you could drop us feedback, what you thought and what you took out of today's session. It's going to be, the link will be shared with you. I've shared the link in the group chat anyway. But guys, if you could just share with us and the type of guest you would like to see, post it. Guys, I want to encourage us to post on school. If you want anything, just post it on school and be like, hey, it would be great if we have this type of person in the community, or if you have this whatever you want, like just post it to us. I really want to encourage us to be very vocal, like you guys have seen. If you guys are not practicing all of these things, this is your environment. This is where you can publicly ask questions. This is where you can start to practice your own stakeholder management, not just making it look like it's an admin show. This is not a university, guys, right? We're not a headmaster and pupils. No, this is not it. We're all professionals working together. And so if we need something as a community, as a group, or we want to do something, we can just pop it in the community, post it. You can post. I'm going to share my screen to show you all. You can post things here. You can talk about your day, what's happening, what you've achieved. Because people can learn. You can literally just write something here and tell us what's happening, what your win for the week was, what you've mostly, what the challenge that you've experienced the most in the week, what you learned that you felt could be useful to anyone, right? I think that'd be really, really helpful. Next week, we have something upcoming. And like, this is going to be really exciting. I call it the Telstra Connect. You have to connect with someone in your city. You have to connect with someone in your city. And I'm going to put champions in charge. I'm already seeing the champions that I'm going to put in charge. Hey, love, Juliet, Uzo, all of you. I'm going to put you guys in charge. You have to connect with a Telstra in your city. So I will post it, and I really want to encourage you to please maximize this. It's such a great opportunity to connect with people in your community, build your network. This is where it starts. This is where it all starts. You have to start to practice from here, because even when you get on the job, it's not going to be like, oh, I Chineye, so this is the job for today. You guys heard what she said. They give you a problem, they expect you to solve it. So how do you practice talking to people and reaching out for answers? It is this environment. So I want yesterday to be the last time everyone is just nice and quiet and expecting admin to just post things. You have a problem, you don't need to come into DM, just post it generally. Guys, this is what I'm thinking. Is there anyone available to explain this to me or give me this? Like, that's how you, because on the job, that's what you're doing. Nuria said it as well. When a new person comes, everybody is fighting to be the one to help them. Why? Because senior leaders can see the people who put their hand up without asking. Alina, for context, is actually my boss. What do you think I'm able to do on the job to get my boss? Like, she's like, do you guys understand what that level of relationship that you can build on a job for you to tell a leader? When I said leader, she's not just the, general managers. She's not a manager. She's people that quite literally move to the CTO, talk to the CTO and give the CTO a report. She's not even a boss of, so Tayo, how are you doing? She's not in the operations. I have another boss that does, okay, how are you doing? All that check. That's not the type of boss she is. She's high up there. But she saw my work, which brings me to personal branding. Someone saw me on social media and then posted it on the group, and everyone's like, oh my God, Tayo is doing this brilliant work. I really want you. I was just like, oh my goodness, I didn't mean to share with you guys. It's like, I wasn't going to share, but they shared it. And that way, I didn't have to even say anything. She then reached out to me herself and said, Tayo, what can I do to help? And that's what they say about putting your work out there. This is not a my work will speak for me environment. If you don't have socials, I gave you guys an opportunity to host the Sing Skills AMA. I think it was just one person that took up that opportunity. Like, when people can't see you, they don't know you, and they don't know you, like, you're nobody. This is the environment. This is the environment for you to build insane level of skills. There's so many opportunities. There's a lot of stuff that we do. I intentionally posted the AMA session, which is you practicing your hosting skills. As a business analyst, you're going to be having people in the room, interviewing them like I was doing with Elena, talking to people, asking questions. I'm giving you a free playground to practice how to ask questions. But I'm shocked that quite literally only one person took the offer. Maybe the message was not quite clear, but team, we're going to do better. Visibility is the key. There's a lady called Melinda. She says, you're too broke to not be visible. You're too broke to be private on social media. Some of you guys are like, I'm a private person, Tayo. You're too broke to be private. I don't mean broke as in not having money, right? I mean like broken network and connection. That's what I'm talking about. So again, I'm giving you the opportunity again. If you want to host the Sing Skills Ask Me Anything session, go and reply on that post. It's a ground. It's an open ground. No one's going to give you this. And we're giving it to you on a platter of gold. Thanks, Joanne. We'll do better. That's what I want to see. And Joanne, you're going to be championing the Telstra Connect for your city. Wherever you are, you're going to be championing that. So I want champions. Sydney, Brisbane, I want champions that's going to be able to post that and say Telstra Connect. So you put your suburb, in the group chat, and people in your suburb, everyone can connect. And that needs to happen progressively over 2 weeks. So I'm going to select.
I just sign myself up.
John, what did you say?
Did I just sign myself up for that?
Yes, you
After
did.
this.
You did. You're a winner. And Richard over there. Richard, I'm coming to you as well because I'm seeing your face over there. I'm
Okay.
fighting champions across all cities. Nina is smiling. Nina, you're gonna be the champion for Adelaide. Yes. Noah, you have your hand up.
Yeah, thank you so much. But I want to acknowledge all of you that
Yes.
were on camera, Richard, Vincent, Juliet, even with your baby.
No, is there any way to speak up?
You know, it's a bit low. That's
Can you
true.
hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, still low, but we can hear you.
We can manage.
Not sure what's going on there, but like so I was just saying that I want to acknowledge all of you because we do so much work behind the scenes to be able to bring this caliber of people. These are not this Elena is not just, like Taya said, she's not just a random recruiter on LinkedIn. She manages like huge banks and BA practice in the entire bank. So we're getting insight from somebody that quite literally works with hundreds of people.
Yeah.
So when we show up also and we're professional, it makes them take us seriously. Like, yeah, I see Uzo, I see Vincent, Richard, Juliet with her baby, everybody on camera. We appreciate that because how we position ourselves is also very important. We don't want to come, everybody is like cold and not showing up properly. They're going to think like we're building a community that's just passive. So thank you so much. We want to see more of that. When we're joining sessions like this, let us make sure that we're on camera, we're engaged, we're asking questions. Yeah. So the last thing is like on community. For those of you that are in the community, please, going forward, like you have to network, connect to each other. We don't want you to be bumping each other in event. I hear a lot of that, and they're, oh, you're from SynSkills as well. Oh, start to build the connection here. You already know hundreds of people in SynSkills are working, right? They're working in jobs already. Connect with them, get inside, understand day in their day. Don't just see success story and just say congratulations and move on. Be interested, find out their journey so you know, because we know now, yes, you may not pass your first interview, but you've learned something. Share your interview experience. It's not like, oh, they didn't give me that job, and you think sometimes it's entirely your fault. You just need to prepare and go again and go again. In saying that, there's Bisola coming next week. She's gonna share like her own journey of breaking down and rising from the ashes, an interview experience. Now she's in a job she loves, but we want you to also see the messy middle, the journey of how ups and downs happen. So it's not like you just see success story and feel like everybody just gets one and done, they get the job. It's a process, it's a journey. I want to encourage each other. So please always post on school what you're struggling with. We're gonna make sure that we try and support you there. I saw your hand, Richard. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you guys. I just want to reassure you that whenever you ever get doubted on the impact of what you're doing, I want to reassure you that you're doing great, man. You are doing it. I'm really proud of seeing a community like this being brought up by fellow Africans. I really am proud of that, and this is setting a reference or a benchmark of what we can achieve. And yeah, I'm blunt about it. I don't hide behind the fact that we a community of immigrants, a community of Africans who just want to be excellent, and I actually want to take from there to point out a few unprofessional few things that I've actually experienced while at school, while in SynSkills. And if we can do better on those little things, I think we can just, there's a word for that, to leapfrog from the cultural blocks to leapfrog from a cultural mindset which is not favoring us in Australia. And that means if we are to attend a meeting, if we agree to attend a meeting, we are ready to put on cameras, take value from it, contribute. Sometimes people commit on different levels, but when I come into something, I am 100% into it, and there's a lot of blocks that I actually get to experience. Like we agreed to meet, but nobody's showing up. We agreed to meet at a certain time. We'd meet 30 minutes later. That pisses me off, to be honest, and I disengage personally. And I know there's a lot of people that actually think of the same thing, and it just happens that they disengaged and nobody was communicated. So as much as I would like to to intervene or to contribute, there's a tendency to lean on personal achievements rather than sharing a journey with others, and that is what the platform can do better. And I appreciate you guys for putting your hand up and actually doing the work. I ascribe to that 100%, and I don't want to take much time talking about it. I just want to do it. And you do research before meeting a person. You do research and reading before coming to a teamwork, and actually contribute with the mindset on, without coming and asking silly questions, stupid questions. And this is something actually Tayo actually mentioned when it's about stakeholder management. You want to get there prepared. You don't want to be seen as someone who's not prepared for a meeting. That's actually embarrassing.
It is.
It's embarrassing, and it's double embarrassing because we need to do 2 times more and 2 times better than the average person here.
Yeah.
And I just want to pump this in just to say that I'm really proud of you guys. I'm really proud of the community you're building, and I will reject 100% mediocrity. Thanks.
Brilliant. Thank you, Richard, for saying that.
Yeah.
Because that's such a critical thing to point out. It's absolutely critical to point out. And this is what myself and Noah are saying, Richard. Like, if everyone is speaking up, as an example, that's a challenge and that's a real one, right? And people might have different things happening in their lives, but I really want a situation where we're all very like open to talking about our current challenges or the things that we're going through, even as you guys are working within the group, which I believe that's the context in which you're talking, like with your teammates not showing up for assigned meetings and things like that, right? Those are things that we should be talking about openly, even in chat, to be like, this is what's happening, and this is what we should do. And even you mentioning the way you do anything is the way you do everything, and that's just not good enough. If you've committed to a 10 o'clock session, if something happens, which happens on the job, you owe it to your teammate to leave them a message at least 10 minutes before. Hey, this has rocked up in my life. I'm unable to join. This is what I've done. And this is how I intend to catch up with this. At least people are informed, right? Rather than people showing up to sessions and things like and not knowing what it is. And we do have a bit of a process in place as well to further support that journey, Noah, in order to make sure all of these sessions are kind of like assigned in a calendar, but we also still want you all to kind of take charge of that. So definitely, I really like that you called that out, and that's something, with you as well, being able to speak that up is really great. One thing I wanted to call out is preparation is really critical. But also, I want us to be quite conscious that it's okay to ask questions. But when you're asking questions that seem like you haven't prepared, or you haven't looked at the material, or you haven't revisited the class, then that's just not good enough. That's just not good enough, right? So it's very, very important that we uphold these values and as we go out there and continue to succeed. I know, Noah, you've got your a point to raise over there.
Surely, but like this
No, you're quite low, very low.
so this community were betting on two things basically, that you're all ambitious people and talented people, and we don't want you to be underserved, underrepresented, underemployed, and all the under different things we're facing. We want you to understand that for us to get the opportunity that we deserve, like we have to prepare, we have to do a bit more, and nothing will be handed to us. We have to fight for it. So you've seen it. If we're saying stakeholder management, it may feel like a theoretical thing. But thank God, Elena is talking about that as well. On the job, quite literally, nobody's pushing you around to say do this and do that. And that's what we're replicating our sync skills. So we can't hold your hand in all the groups to say, set your meeting, come to this session now, do this thing. That part is for you guys to figure it out, right? It's for you guys to understand what it means to actually do the real job, because there are some things you cannot read in a book. You have to experience it. That's why you gain experience. And even Richard, in terms of like your reaction to that, I'll just say we can be very firm, but we also have to have the tact, so we don't feel like we're stepping on people's toes, right? In terms of the choice of words and the language, we can be passionate. I'm also like guilty, but like especially as Africans, we can feel like we're very confronting, right? They can
Yeah.
come across like very confronting. Oh, our choice of words, people may take offense to it. So that's where like there's a fine line between like all of you must do like what is correct, but the world does not do like behave like that. To be honest, not everybody will be successful in life. If the truth, and it took me so long to realize that if everybody was supposed to be successful, then we'll have an equilibrium, right? Everything will happen the same way. But the truth is, you're gonna be in a group where most people don't, show up. They do what they like, but you have your journey, your own journey, right? And then you recognize that, like, okay, maybe this is my advantage, right? The reframe is important. That means this is the data for me to say, oh, if everybody or most people are not gonna, be professional, do the research, maybe this is my advantage to be able to shine. Like I'm building this community and I have strong opinions and I say things that is not popular. Men, the people that don't like it, there are people that like it, and it's borderline. But for me, I'm very strong on my conviction, right? To focus on my own mission. So you're not going to find majority like you, Richard, right? But you just be sure to be very diplomatic. You don't need to be diplomatic all the time because, like I said, I'm not diplomatic all the time. But just know the room, choose the battle you want to fight, encourage people. But if they're not going to show up, you can't force them because genuinely, it's your own journey. So go on the journey, collaborate. You will find like minds. That's the beautiful thing about Sync Skills. It may not be in your group, but it's in another group, right? It may not be even in your cohort. It may be in another cohort. Trust me, there are many ambitious and talented people that have done things here. So you're not in the wrong place. You're going to find people beyond
True.
your cohort or your group or your assignment group or whatever. You're finding people like you that think like you, act like you similarly, and you can form that connection. And that's why we're trying to move to a platform that is more engaging than just Slack, which is cool. Post your challenge. It may be something you've read, right? I share things I read with my team all the time. It may be something that, that is interesting. It may be a challenge. I may be facing a challenge. That's why I share even my personal journey. Some things that I feel like is personal because my own life is about service. I share my health challenge. Sometimes I was like, don't share this. I'm like, to like what? Like I was like gonna do liver biopsy test the other day, and I really wanted like if I knew one person that had done it before that can just tell me that it's gonna be okay, don't overthink this thing, you're not gonna die. Like, I would appreciate that comforting word from somebody. So I share that. So if somebody says, oh, maybe, because I know I'm not going to be the last person to ever do liver biopsy. It's not going to end with me. People are going to have to do it for whatever reason. But if you know that, oh, Noah has gone through this experience, maybe I can ask him what the process looks like. I derive joy from that. That is why we're sharing this opportunity to say, look, you can do something else in your life, and we share our knowledge, and we're not perfect, but like we try to work every day to help people. So Richard, what I'm saying, control the things you can control, find your people and just share, like share the challenge, share things. We're going to help you. We're very similar in our experience, and guess what, something you're going through, somebody else may have gone through it, and then they will give you an advice that will just help you out. And, running this community, running this business, we don't have a lot of people in our community, in this community, African community, that are willing to share like the mistakes, the learnings, like whatever. It's so bad. Even if you post in some group, they're gonna yank you off one day if they feel like you're making some progress, right? They're gonna yank you. It has happened to me numerous times, right? And I always laugh because I don't depend on one platform. I learned. So what do? I read 58 books on marketing, sales, business, because I'm not going to find any mentor yet. But I'm willing to share. I can help somebody that's struggling something, and share. My own philosophy is just share. Just share. Right? If I'm gonna be able to share that and not worry about money at all, we won't even charge anybody to come to Sin Skills, right? If things are free, the tools are free, the staff, everybody will do free things, right? We will not charge anyone to come on to Sin Skills. We just help everyone. But we also know that whenever we did something free, people will know transformation doesn't happen when you say something is free. So I created a community, business community. I created resources free. Nobody's changing anything, right? So, but the point here is, let's share information, ideas, knowledge, challenges. We will become a stronger community and better for ourselves. But thank you so much to everyone. This is the award. It's special. It's 40.
Congrats, man. Congrats.
Congratulations to you also.
Congratulations. That's huge.
Congrats.
What was
You
it
deserve
about?
more.
What was it about? 40 under 40. What does that mean?
Yeah, so it's a special award for people doing amazing things in
Yeah.
Queensland.
Oh,
Queensland.
sweet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You're on the spotlight, man. You're on the spotlight.
No, I show the award again. Let me take a screenshot. Can I get everyone with your emojis? Yeah.
We want to make sure that Africans were doing really well, and we're being represented. And that I want to see all of you, shine in your different spaces, but it requires work. So let's work together and let's do this. This is for all of us, so that it's a validation to say that what we're saying works, right? You can do something that is different that most people will not do. People will call you crazy, but as long as you're doing the right thing, just keep going. But thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Noah and Tayo. We'll catch up later. Hey.
Amazing. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Thank you,
guys.
Tayo.
Thank you.
Thank
See
you,
you.
Noah. Thank you,
Bless you
Sis.
all.
See you, Tayo, later in the evening.
Yeah, see you all at 5 p.m. C17, 5 p.m. on the dot. If you want to join Dollar Stage, you're welcome to join. Okay.
Are they sharing puff puff?
Oh yes, Nina. Big one. If you want to join Dollar Stage, you're welcome to join. Okay. Well, you are welcome to join today. Today's session is powerful. Matilda, congratulations on your new job. Matilda, you here? Say hello to us. Yeah. Is the offer out yet, Matilda? Matilda, are you with us? I almost forgot. You guys have crowded my head with so many job offers. Sometimes I even forget who's next. Matilda, you with us? Or she probably cannot talk. All right, amazing. Guys, have a lovely afternoon. C17. I'll see you tonight at 5 p.m. and see you also. Yes, I'm done.